Hey guys, so today's video is going to be an updated brow tutorial. It's been quite a while since I had a video that focused only on my brows and how I fill them in and what I like the most for my brows and what works best for me personally. So I am not gonna ramble. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. And now if you want to see this updated brow routine and learn my tips and tricks, then just keep watching. First and foremost, this is not my everyday routine for my brows. If you like more of that, I am constantly doing a step-by-step in my Insta stories. So if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, my link is down below. You feel free to follow me. And I very often try new products and try to switch up my routine. And I love to document that in my Insta stories. Ever since I can remember, I have never in my life had full brows. I have gotten so many comments whenever I post a picture either with no makeup or in my videos when I start off with no makeup. A lot of people say to me like, what happened to your brows? And it's just the way they are. I have very sparse brows, and the hair on my brows, they are I have spots there. They're very light on those spots. So for me, it's just something that they have always been like this, and I have always have to fill them in. It didn't help that also when I was in high school, one time I got hit with a door on this eyebrow and I have a scar, and then on this side I think I got hit with a ball and I got a tiny little cut, and I also have a scar. So I have a scar in each of my brow in the same spot, on the same spot, for different reasons. So that doesn't help either because my hair doesn't grow on those spots. The number one question I get is, why don't you get your brows microbladed? The answer is very simple. I am scared. I have several tattoos, but that is a tattoo on your face. And unless you find someone that is amazing, it's really, really hard to get them right. The number one tip I can give it to you if you have similar brows like mine, get them tinted. I, a while ago, got them tinted at a Benefit Cosmetics brow bar. I think that's what they're called. And it was the best thing for myself personally. They kind of, not only they tinted them, but they shaped them. They waxed all the little stray hairs. They really confused me when I am filling my brows in. So that really saved me so much time in my daily routine. They lasted about, I don't know, I want to say a month. Obviously, it's like coloring your hair. It fades away. It's not so, I feel like it's a less of a commitment than microblading. And you can still have freedom with them. You know, I could still fill them in a different way, but it was like a nice start to my brow routine in a way. If I wanted to just have a clear brow gel and just go on with my day, I could do that. And filling them in, it took a lot less time. So I really, really enjoyed that. I know that in a lot of places you're not gonna find places that do this. It's illegal apparently to do this, but if you live in New York, in Manhattan, you can find many places like that. And so find one that you trust or someone that you know recommend and get that done, because it was a lifesaver. I really, really wish I lived closer to one of those places that I could do that on my daily, on my routine, and incorporate that in my routine, because it was great for myself personally. There are also a lot of kits that you can buy and do it yourself, but I wouldn't do that myself. It's not like even that I recommend, I wouldn't do that myself. I barely color my hair myself. I feel like doing something to my face so close to my eyes, it's really a risk that I don't want to put myself through. And I really don't understand how you can get that done in like a boutique or whatever, but you can buy one of those kits and do it yourself at home. So I don't really see it doesn't make sense in my head But I know that there are kits available, and that doesn't mean they don't work or they're not good for you. It's just me personally, I don't want to put myself through that risk. And because, you know, it's not only my face, but it's my eyes, and I just don't want to deal with it. I have many products that I am a fan of, that I use in my daily basis. Different brands and different, you know, kinds of products. But that doesn't mean I use all of them every single time I do my makeup. I switch up, I switch back and forth. Like I said, it depends how I'm going to do my brows that day. But I figured I would show you a few of my favorites. Now, obviously, I haven't tried every single brow pencil out there in the world, but these are just my personal favorites in what I switch back and forth in my daily basis. And I think it's pretty safe to say that brow pencils are my #1 choice when it comes to filling in my brows. I use this so much that everything rubbed off. The name, everything rubbed off. But this is the Wonder Beauty Frame Your Face Brow Pencil. This is absolutely beautiful. It's long lasting, it's very precise, and it has a spoolie. It's perfect for on the go. I really enjoyed this. From the drugstore, we have CoverGirl Ultra Fine Brow Pencil. I like in the shade Soft Brown. And again, it's kind of the same deal. It's very precise, it has a spoolie, and it's very long lasting as well. And then we have the Precisely My Brow Pencil from Benefit. I go back and forth between the shade 4 and 4.5. I am a huge fan of volumizing brow gels. For me personally, it's a necessity. Not for everyone, it's a necessary step. But for my brows, I feel like they are a necessity. I really enjoy the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Gel. I use it in the shade Soft Brown. I'll be sure to link some of my Insta tutorials down below for you guys using this product as well. This is a great product if you are on the go and you don't need so much definition on your brows. This kind of fills them in for you. It's waterproof, it's very long lasting, and it has a bunch of different shades. So I highly recommend this one. This product is not so new, but they did come out with new shades. So since they did that, I finally found my perfect shade. So I have been using this more recently right now, and this is the Milk Makeup Kush Fiber Brow Gel. I use it in the shade Herb. I know a lot of people compare this to the Glossier Brow Boy, I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure, I have never tried that one, but this one, it's very nice, very effective. And I have to say, between this and the Anastasia Beverly Hills, I don't have a favorite because they kind of serve different purposes. If I was to wear just by itself, this right here, the Milk Makeup, would be my first choice. The Anastasia Beverly Hills, I think it takes a little bit more of filling in and then going in with that. Like, I need some assistant when I use that brow gel. And then lastly, we have the Benefit Cosmetics Gimme Brow Plus. This is the only one that I probably wouldn't use on its own because I feel like it doesn't really look right, and it doesn't give me definition. It kind of just makes it tends to make a mess. So I like to use this after I fill in my brows, but I don't like to use this by itself. When it comes to clear brow gels, I know you might think like, but it's just a clear brow gel. Yes, but I have tried several of them, and even really high-end expensive ones, and I have to say these two are the best in my opinion. So it's a tie for me. A lot of people prefer one over the other, but for me it's a complete tie. The whole entire name also rubbed off because it's in my everyday bag. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel is an amazing brow gel, and it holds everything in place all day long. And then the Benefit Cosmetics 24-Hour Brow Setter is also one of my favorites. This one has a very interesting brow, and if I was to pick one over the other, I don't want to, but if I was, I think I might pick this one over the Anastasia Beverly Hills because of the brush. The brush is very different, and it's much more precise. I also am a huge fan of brow pomades. I know they are very scary, and I was very scared of pomades at first when I first started, you know, filling in my brows myself. But they are very effective, especially if you have sparse brows. So they take a lot more practice and a lot more training, if you will, but once you get the hang of them, they are amazing. So of course I have the staple, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow, and I really like the shade Soft Brown. And then I also really like the Benefit Cosmetics Ka-Brow. I use it in a shade 4.5. The packaging is very cute and all, but for me it's not very practical because I don't use the little brush that comes, you know, with it. I prefer just using my own brush with the spoolie and everything else, but I really enjoy the product as well. The one product I recommend if you are using or if you're looking into using any kind of a brow pomade is this guy right here. This is called Duraline and it's from Inglot. I am not sure they have the same exact product by any other brand, but this is the one, it's the most, you know, known from this brand. So this is basically something that you would mix with your makeup. This also makes it waterproof, so which is what I like as well. So what I do is I mix one little drop if my brow pomade it's a little bit dry, or if I want it just to be a little bit more, have a little bit more of a slip to it, so I can draw those tiny little strokes and lines. And that's all you need. It's one tiny little drop. It doesn't damage the product. I've been using this for a long time, and this bottle I'm just now running out. I have had this for a long time. This will last you forever. So I highly recommend this. And also if you like to kind of like mix your make your own eyeliners, this is a great product for that as well. You mix a little bit of eyeshadow with this and you kind of makes like a paste that you can use as eyeliner and whatnot. This is like, the list is endless. You can use this for so many different purposes, but what I use for the most is for my brow pomades. I also really enjoy this Anastasia Beverly Hills Pro Pencil. I use it in the shade Base 1. This is really nice if I'm on the go. It's nice to clean up you know, my brows and shape them up and highlight them, if you will. So this is very handy to have. I have this in my go-to bag when I'm doing my makeup, like, you know, on the go. It's very nice and it's very effective. Another thing I am a huge fan of, and this might be a little weird to some, is soap. I am a huge fan of soap brows. Soap brows, I'm not sure who invented them, but they have been around for a long time. A lot of people use this technique, and you pretty much brush your brows with soap. You make a little bit of, you know, you mix it up a little bit of water or whatnot, and then you brush your brows, and it acts like a super duper gel, like a brow spray, you know, like super hold. But if you're not used to it, it can get a little bit tricky until you get the hang of it, because it tends to make your brows, it tends to harden your brows. So if you are new to this, I have videos and I will link them down below as well, but it's a very effective technique and it gives a nice texture to brows, and it makes them look so real and pretty much microbladed in a way. So I am a huge fan of that as well. When it comes to tools for my brows, I don't have like one favorite brush aside from one of them. This one right here, it's my favorite one to clean up my brows because I like to be very precise. This is the Sigma Precise Lip Line L06. It's super tiny, super precise. You can pretty much get by with any flat shader brush like this. I have several of them, all from different brands. But just know that what you would need if you're using a brow pomade is an angle brush. That helps a whole lot. A spoolie helps, any kind of you know, product that you're using for your brows. And if you are using either a brow pencil or whatnot, a flat shader brush will help you just to shape up and clean up your brows. Before we get into the tutorial, I just want to say that brows are very personal. The way I feel in my brows changes all the time, and that might not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. We all have different faces, different shapes of faces and brows, and different textures of hair, And you know, you have to find what works best for you. You have to find a product that looks best on your skin and on your face and with your brow hair texture and whatnot. And if you are to seek any professional help, please do seek a professional. I really recommend that you do your research, because it's something that I have seen so many horror stories on the internet or on the news or whatnot of people that had a terrible experience, you know, either microblading or tinting their brows, or I don't know, threading or waxing or whatever it may be. But so please do your research. Ask your friends, ask your family, ask someone in your life that you know personally that went somewhere and had a good experience, and that would be my best advice for you. And then the second advice I can give you is stop plucking your brows. Stop it today, right now. If you're watching this while you're plucking your brows, just stop. Put the tweezers away and just forget about it. I know it may seem like you know, a very invasive sort of advice, but I stopped plucking my brows a while ago, and this is all I got as of right now. So just imagine if you don't take that advice and if you don't stop plucking your brows. It's not the worst thing in the world, and I do still pluck my brows. I have like a few stray hairs here or there, but it's best that you stop plucking your brows. If you want to focus on your brows and get them in good shape, stop plucking them and just forget about it for months. And I say 3-4 months, and then seek professional help, and then try yourself to shape them. Try different products, try different techniques, try everything until you find a place that you like or you feel comfortable with the way you fill them in, because it will take a long time to get them in that good state that you can play around with them and shape your brows differently. So that's my advice for you. So now that I showed you some of my favorite products, let's go on with the tutorial. For my brows today, I'm going to be using the Benefit Cosmetics Precisely My Brow Pencil in the shade 4.5. First thing I like to do is to brush them through with the spoolie. And I think that by doing that, it gives you a very clear guideline and sort of like a plan of how are you going to fill in your brows and where do you need to fill in your brows. The second thing I like to do is figure it out what kind of brow style I'm going to go with. I change up the way I fill in my brows every time I fill them in. I like them bold, I like them feathery, I like them super natural, I like them even without filling them in. It's just a matter of how I'm feeling that day and how it's almost like they are an accessory and an extension of my makeup look. How I'm going to accessorize that makeup look that I am rocking that day with my brow. So as you can see, I have a lot more brow hairs right here on my inner brow. So I like to start in the middle and then build up towards my tail. And then I kind of look over and see what else I need to fill in on this area right here. For me, it's all about pressure. It's how I am going to flick this pencil. That's what's going to determine how natural or how bold my brows are going to look. So I basically place my brow on the area that I want to fill in, and then that's where the pressure is going to be more intense. And then as I flick it, I release the pressure like that. So that is the kind of pressure and movement that I'm going to do throughout this whole process. And once you get the hang of it, it gets easier and easier, and you can do this faster and faster. And then in between each step, I like to go back with the spoolie, because that spoolie is going to help you blend those strokes and make them look even more natural. So I like to do this basically between every step. So I like to brush them down very softly so you don't ruin the work that you already did. And then I look and see where are the spots that I need to fill in. I don't go all the way on my inner brow. I follow the natural line, the natural hairs from this area all the way along my tail. This is a step that you have to be more careful with because this tends to go south very fast. If you draw a harsh line, your brows are going to look very drawn in. So you have to follow your natural line of hair if you have one, because I know a lot of people don't. Even if you have one hair to follow as a guideline, that already helps. And this is the most difficult part in my opinion, because you have to match. This is where you have to match them, and that's very, very hard. So please remember that they will never look the same. No matter how good you are, no matter how hard you try, they most definitely will never look the same. After this step, I blend everything in with the spoolie and I start it all over on the bottom. So I'm going to flick from bottom to top in the same exact way. After this, I like to trace a very soft line on the bottom and also on the top. I'm holding this pencil very lightly. I am going to put the littlest amount of pressure and then draw a very, very soft line. The next step for me, and pretty much the most important step in my opinion, is to clean up my brows. I finally found this brush back and I'm so glad. I recently did like a declutter of my brushes and I finally found this brush again. I knew I had it and I didn't know where it was, so I'm happy I found it. This is the Sigma Precise Lip Line L06. It's super tiny and precise, as the name says. So basically what I like to do is take a concealer that's not too much lighter than my own skin tone and put a little bit on the back of my hand and dip my brow and very lightly wipe the excess off and then very lightly start to clean up on the bottom and go all the way from inner brow all the way down to the tail. And then very lightly I will blend it down towards my eyelid. That's why I like to do my brows before I do my eye makeup. And don't be like me and sit here and obsess and let this process drive you crazy, because it will drive you crazy. You will sit here and try to match them and they will never look the same. So just fill them in and try to make them look as similar as possible and just move on. Now this step to me is very, very important because my brows, they are not only sparse but they're kind of like all over the place. So I use brow gel consistently. I use brow gel with my skincare and I really, really believe that that helps a whole lot to keep them in shape. And I have to have brow gel as my last step. Today I'm using the Benefit Cosmetics 24-hour brow setter. I like to brush my brows upwards. Not everybody likes this look, but I personally really, really like to have them kind of like uneven on top and let the little brows just kind of be feathery on top. This is an extra step and also personal preference, but I like to take a volumizing brow gel and kind of brush through from the middle of my brow all the way down to my tail. What you can also do, and I think this looks quite pretty, is highlight very lightly your brow bone, which kind of lifts your face a little bit more as well. Alright guys, so that's it for this brow tutorial. I hope that this was helpful, and if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section. And as always, if you like this video, if you found it helpful, and if you learned something new, please give me a thumbs up and share with your friends and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.